economy moving again. Will it be Obama, but he's had 4 years and still hasn't figured out how to get it done? Or does Romney really have a greater understanding of what America needs at this moment, which is greater, stronger economic growth? But what explains the pickup in auto?
Well, this is Mike Jackson in 2012. Now, this is the car dealership that has a civil rights attack involving children. And if you look at the date on this, you'll see the date is October the 10th in 2008, about the time of the bailout. Jackson was on the Auto Task Force. Now, this is 2012. He's in Fort Lauderdale. He's right there, right close to where Debbie Wasserman Schultz is. Now, what Mike Jackson doesn't tell you, he has a civil rights attack involving children. He has no problem with beating children up. Okay, and he was going to hide behind the Jewish people in regards to a gentleman named Max Cohen. Max Cohen had cancer, okay, when he attacked us on that sidewalk. It was a 4-hour protest. It was 2 days. It was over the recalls. It wasn't an occupied movement. Now, this is a pimp 2 years later. I've already been on the internet. 2/3 of Congress have already seen when car dealers attack, okay? And this is Mike Jackson, okay? Now, what did Mike Jackson get in 2012? Well, as you know or may not know, Mitt Romney had been to Florida 17 times, but he never campaigned between Fort Lauderdale and South Miami, which is the most populated, most powerful part of the eastern seaboard. Why? Jackson's in Fort Lauderdale, and so is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Okay? So to make the matters further, Jackson gets a $1.4 billion loan. He was on the task force. He's the only one in the country that has a hate crime in front of General Motors. General Motors, okay? He's the only one. Fritz Henderson, you can see on my YouTube channel, basically talks about it when I was trying to contact Akerson on my YouTube channel. You'll see some of this here. I'll try to pull some of this up. And here are some of my videos you might want to look at. Most of the view counts are shut off on them. And, you know, here are some of the videos. Here's the original, somewhat the original part of the video that happened. Now, so Jackson's on the Auto Task Force. He's friends with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's his favorite pimp. But he's supposed to be a GOP pig. He's supposed to be a Bush Cheney pig. Remember, they're the ones that started the bailouts for GM. And he was in on all that at the top end because he was on the Auto Task Force. But anyhow, Jackson at that time was on the bailout. And they told him if he didn't go endorse Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that he couldn't get the $1.4 billion from Jamie Dimon at Chase Banks. So if you go to Debbie's election page, there used to be a scroll. On the last part of the scroll, it shows a town hall meeting with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Mike Jackson in Fort Lauderdale. Now, this guy's got the hate crime on the web. That's a Republican, but he's getting $1.4 billion. And as you may or may not, Romney never campaigns there. Jackson gets the $1.4 billion loan. Obama gets elected easily. Florida was in the back. And that's basically what has happened here. But so anyhow, the problem I have with it is, and I'm going to show you some of the clips. Auto dealers call file. I don't know who this is. This is somebody else's video here. It's amazing how you'll click on something and you'll get diverted, like here. So in a little while, I'm going to play a background video. And I put a video called Race Pigging up from December the 10th. Jackson sued me about a year ago. I sued him once. He got away. He got away in that lawsuit. He decides to sue me, but shortly after, Cohen ends up being dead. Cohen had cancer. So Jackson went and told all the Jewish communities and all the Jews that run America, because the pagan Gentiles are reduced down to like animals now. Every group of person, every origin of person, country that came to this country are reduced down to nothing. The master race runs the country. Okay. But anyhow, I had a hard time pulling my videos up on here, but in respective to that, I'm going to do is click him out. There he is, the Illuminati pimp, the one that's been selling cars to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein had over 200 cars. Jackson had been selling cars. He'd been in the rape mansion before too. You won't admit it, but you know, you got to be able to prove it and so forth for people to really respond to it. Anyhow, here's some of my videos. You can see my YouTube channel. A lot of it's been hacked, but irrespective to that, Autonation is probably one of the worst car dealerships in this country. But it's he's the biggest pimp. He's on the Federal Reserve of the Georgia Federal Reserve Board. But anyhow, so this is Debbie's pimp, the one that likes to beat children. But she helps them get a loan, and they locked Romney out. Now, what happened in the other elections is what I would like to know. In the midterm, as you know, Joe Kaufman's been running against, here's some pictures of Debbie. Joe Kaufman's been running against Debbie Wasserman-Schultz 6 times, but he never gets over $600,000. And I thought it was peculiar because I have been contacting Joe to see if he'd use this against Debbie, but he can't because he's a GOP, Republican party, which means they're only for the fascist corporations at all. The Democratic Party tries to disguise it and hide it a little better. The Republicans have no problem being asshole and super prejudiced pricks. They have no problem with it. They come right out blatantly. Here's a little clips of Debbie. I mean, she's disgusting, but because the Jews won't let go of that party, they wouldn't even put Kaufman in. And Kaufman's a pro-Israel, good little Jewish boy who'll go along with whatever Israel says, but they can't put Joe in. So in the last midterm, the pizza perpetrators up down there, Herman Klein, Bolton, Newt Gingrich, all the war pigs that the Jews use, they all show down at Kaufman's tent probably about 3 months before the midterm. So I figured I'll call up Schwartzman, Cooperman, Welch, Siegel, some of the big Jewish guys that claim they're Republicans, but claim they're red team pigs. I said, why don't you pee in Kaufman's cup so you can get like $1.2 million, $1.5 million, and maybe he could get a TV ad or billboard ad and put Debbie out. Well, what happened was Shell Nelson blackmails the Republican Party and tells Debbie, if you go against the marijuana initiative, I won't allow anyone to fund Joe Kaufman. So Kaufman never gets over $600,000. Debbie gets back in again. The Jews want to control all of this, and people are getting tired of it. But you know what? Because the blackmail gangsters, the Wall Street, and the courts have so much control over us, everyone is blackmailed into submission. And that's basically what it is. Debbie's useless. She lost 60 seats, okay? She never helped anybody in the party. The UAW, the union people don't even want to be seen with her. I mean, come on. But the Jews won't let control of either party. They got the deck stacked both ways. Now, all the other races of people that came here, and nationalities and cultures, for what they had to do in the sacrifice, even my grandfather, the ones that couldn't speak English, the sacrifices they made to become Americans, they're all worth nothing now. Worth nothing. Now, Debbie doesn't stand up for the blacks. She doesn't stand up for the shootings in the streets that are going on constantly. She doesn't stand for anything because she's a two-dog trick monkey pig. And that's all she can be. But anyhow, she knows about the civil rights attack. She's threatened me before. But anyhow, so what happens is I've sued him a few times. There's breadcrumbs left around. Then a year ago, they decided to sue me. And that's where I'm going to put this up right now. And this is a hearing from November 4th, prior to the November 10th hearing that you see on YouTube called race pigging. And in this one, this is a motion to dismiss the amended complaint. And this is the Jewish judges that threw down the U.S. attorney in the complaint that came later, which was an ADA. Now I'm going to play it.
Okay, thank you very much.
My name is Kaplanis. I'm Greek. I'm not a Palestinian. Go ahead, Judge.
Okay, we are in open court. Does everybody want to announce their case in the record?
Yeah, I'd like to know everyone is attended, and I'd like to know if there's any Autonation attorneys present. And I'd like to know the setting. Are you in a closed chamber or are you in open court?
You're in open court, sir. Does everybody want to announce their case in the record? Right? Mr. Bell? Mr. Bell, and Mr. Complainant is on the phone.
So Diane, correct me, Judge, Diane Sobel is present?
Yes, she's present,
okay.
Sir. All right, so this is Sarah's motion to dismiss. Mr. Complainant, this is your motion to dismiss.
What about my ADA complaint? See, you don't want to come on record, Mrs. Perman. You and Mr. Weinstein have already talked to one another. And Mrs. Sobel is present. She was aware that there's an ADA condition. Now, she is not a judge. She has no legal authority to order me to do anything in another state to begin with.
appear by phone, sir, or do you want to appear in person in court?
We're appearing by phone right now, Mrs. Perman. Right now, Mrs.
Okay,
Perman.
so this is your motion to dismiss, sir. Do you want to proceed?
So you don't want, so you want to deny the allegations of the ADA complaint, but I have a judge from Judge Weinstein, which is the chief administrating judge over you, in regards to this case. I have filed a motion to disqualify you for change of judge for cause, and it was supposed to be called to your attention. Now, okay, what's that? So what you want to, so you're going to deny, so you want to proceed. Wait, Perman. You and Weinstein and Stovall want to proceed in an unlawful hearing, and you want to violate the ADA laws. Is that correct?
Do you want to have your motion to dismiss heard or not, sir?
No, you don't make the decision. Oh, do you want to violate the ADA law? So you're under Title II of the American Disabilities Act, Section 501, the Rehabilitation Act. I guess it was acted in 1973. You're unlawfully pushing me into a hearing by the means of the plaintiff. You're unlawfully pushing. Now, wait. Mrs. Sobel has identified there was an issue in regards to me hearing, and you're aware of it.
This is not going to work if you keep interrupting me. I will.
Oh, you mean as you're violating the federal statutes of the ADA law? It's not going to work. You never addressed them, Judge, because you don't want to come on record. You and Weinstein don't want to come on record, and you want to roll me into an unlawful proceeding and violate me and discriminate me because I have a hearing difficulty. No different than Autonation, like beating the children down. No different than Debbie Wasserman Schultz's pimp beat us down. No.
Mr. Complainant.
You want to violate the federal law. You're aware of the federal law, and the chief judge has read it. Mrs. Stovall's in there. Stovall emailed me last night.
Mr. Complainant, are you able to hear me?
I can't hear her. I have to record it and listen to some. I might hear something. I might not hear some.
You're hearing everything thus far. Is that correct?
No, I haven't. Some parts I haven't. Okay, it's very difficult. Very difficult. Well, so why don't we address the ADA federal complaint against you and Judge Weinstein in regards to your claim? Why don't we address the federal law that you want to violate by pushing me into a hearing today, knowing that I can't hear, knowing that Mrs. Stovall had contacted me by email in regards to it, so the court has recognized that I have a hearing disability. The court has no jurisdiction of law to order me to see a doctor in Arizona. So you want me to proceed unlawfully because it's convenient for you to violate the federal law. Is that correct?
Mr. Complainant, do you want to have your motion to dismiss heard, or do you not want to have it heard?
And so and if I decide not to have it heard, what would happen?
Then I would roll on the motion on the paper. If you don't want to be heard,
so you're going to make a ruling, but you won't make any rulings in regards to federal law. So you can discriminate against me as my disability, and then so you're going to make a ruling without me now? You wouldn't make a ruling on the ADA. Judge, you and Weinstein wouldn't come on record. You would not come on record in the ADA. Now, I sent that ADA over to the U.S. Department of Justice.
No one is discriminating against you.
But why aren't you addressing the ADA, ma'am, period?
I'm allowing you to appear by phone, sir.
You allowing me to? You allowing me? Knowing that I can't hear? Knowing that there were problems with the phone communication? I gave two alternatives to the plaintiff and you guys to remedy this issue. The plaintiffs did not contend any of the two issues that I put in front in regards to remedying the hear loss. I put two remedies in there. So they didn't answer, they didn't contest it, because if they contested it, it would have been on record, Mrs. Perman, and then you would have had to address the plaintiff's motion in regards to the ADA complaint.
Mr. Complainant, I am not going to allow you.
You're not going to allow me to do what?
This is not a written session. This is a hearing.
It's a hearing? Oh, it's a hearing where you can violate federal law because you're in Florida for the plaintiff's lawyer.
You've made your objection, sir. We're moving forward.
Well, I just want you to take on record, Mrs. Perman, that you are denying the ADA complaint and you have Mrs. Stovall in present.
Yeah, you are.
It's